Everyone, Code and Commentary, where we decode technology and we bring it to you from a perspective that matters, that resonates, especially with entrepreneurs, especially with solopreneurs, digital content creators, and the like. Not a stranger to the show today. So I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to bring Katie on, but this is the CEO and the founder for Simplified. Simplified.com is a platform allowing you to create, edit, collaborate, share all of your digital content, regardless of what you're looking. Listen, why am I giving the pitch? This guy is going to be the best one to give the pitch. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Instead of me talking about it, let me bring Katie on. I'm not
Hello.
officially on the clock, right? You know, I don't work for Simplified, so I shouldn't do the entire pitch. I should let you do that, man.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Yes.
Amazing. Um,
Listen. You looking good. You looking better. You looking rested.
a little bit more.
Uh, well, you got a lot more gray hair in you, so that just means either the kids are keeping you going, or the company and all of the evolution from what you're doing is keeping you activated.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's always my pleasure to have this conversation, and it's fun. So I'm pretty looking forward to have uh, share what we have built and
Yeah,
what we've been doing and how we see the world. I would love to brainstorm some ideas the way we do it usually.
I love it.
So pretty excited about this session.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Listen, I see folks in the comments, and Katie, you know, again, I'm very unorthodox. I just really want to have the conversation. It's not necessarily a one to you conversation. It's both of us and engaging and interacting with folks in the community as well. I would hope, and I'm not going to preface it, but I would hope that someone would look at us who probably hasn't heard about Simplified, and then I'm gonna have you give the elevator pitch, but then start saying, oh, well, that sounds very similar to something else that I'm using, or that sounds very similar to a whole bunch of other products that I'm using. Why Simplified versus X, Y, and Z? That's kind of where I'm hoping that eyes and ears and kind of thought patterns happen for some of the folks
Yeah.
that are listening. If you don't mind, man, the 35,000 foot elevator pitch of what is and who is Simplified and who you are. You're the man behind the scenes.
Hey everyone, I'm Katie, founder and CEO of Simplified. Simplified is one app to create, collaborate, and scale your marketing. So every business out there is looking to tell a story. You, me, James, with through his podcast, is trying to tell a story to an audience and trying to stand out. And creating content is hard. It is pre-production to post-production, and managing these processes. Every marketer, every creator struggles with four different things. Number one, they want to get things done faster, efficient, cost effective, on brand, and being collaborative. So all these things are done traditionally through like a lot of different tools. Simplified is bringing best of these things together, making your workflows faster, efficient, and much collaborative than ever before.
The name just makes sense then, I guess, right?
And
Simplify.
we will decouple as we go through the things we'll share and discuss. We'll decouple what exactly we meant by this because we look at everything like a workflow. We are not looking so pretty much the way see everyone is building a car at this
Mm.
point. We are building like Teslas of the future, or like Teslas who are like more futuristic, more electric. Yeah, I mean, let people build gasoline cars or gas cars. We are building Teslas and probably the next generation of cars. That's how I put it.
It's a great analogy because you know I'm an EV guy, and you know I own a couple of Teslas as well. So I'm already sold just from that perspective, right? I will never buy another ICE car, an internal combustion engine car for me myself. So that analogy resonates with me quite a bit. Let me ask you this though, because again, I think that's a conscious differentiation between, and I'm not going to name a whole bunch of competitors unless you want to name them, and folks in the community can name them, but looking at it from that holistic perspective, I think that's different than some of the one-off products that
Yes.
do AI clips and they do them very well, that do creation of thumbnails really well, and that's all they really do, that do social media management, and that's all they do, and they do it real well. again, you're looking at the entire ecosystem. And again, the majority of my community are those solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, digital content creators that we we don't have time. We really don't. I think that that was probably one of the first conversation I had with you. Be honest with you,
Yeah.
a few years ago, dude. I just need something that takes out moments from my workflow and makes it as easy as possible to do the thing.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
talk to us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah.
Why you decided to do that instead of just building
Yeah.
one thing great, but you decided to do everything pretty good.
So I know you. I somehow probably been discussing with you in different forums. So I knew this. You are going to ask me this question. So for today's session, I put together a simple diagram or like simple picture to just walk us through, because that will help us understand how the world is evolving. Because see, if we look at, and I'll share that picture in a minute. If we look at the era of like 2000, when like small set of creators had access to fancy tools and they
Mm.
were doing majority of the works, and distribution was through offline media. Now 10 years later, there was boom in social media. I'm talking about 2010, and we had these tooling. We were everyone was using different tools to get things done. Now again, 10 years later, or like probably 15 years later now, or 14 years later, it's no longer about who does the job, it's all about what needs to be done. So
Mm.
every podcaster, let me share my screen and let's go through a little bit more. Let's do a little bit deep dive this time rather than just like high level chat. Let me know when my screen is.
Man, look at you over here, man. You over here.
Okay, do you see my screen now?
Yeah, I too.
The
I
favorite.
too.
Okay, all right. So every podcaster, and correct me if I'm wrong, I created a very.
Hold on. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I know. Live,
Pre-production.
live happens. I shouldn't have done that.
So pre-production,
There we
you
go.
guys, kudos to you guys. I don't know how you guys do ideation, script, finding topics, host, recruiting. You spend a lot of time of your energy in doing that. Then you work go the once your thing calendar is finalized, it goes to scheduling, finding the right scheduling software, scheduling, getting the host, coordinating. I'm sure like you were nervous until I showed up on the call, making sure that because you have audience.
Dude, you
So
know I am. You knew I was. Okay.
so, and so you already, as a podcaster, you already spend so much energy in pre-production and production. Now, as the world is changing, it's no longer just about putting content there. It's about reaching to that audience. So once the recording is done, you are spending time editing, scheduling. Then distribution is a biggest channel because it's no longer now. I'll put it on YouTube. It's you have to put it on YouTube. You have to put it on TikTok. You have to put it on Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Then the formats are changing. It's no longer by 16 by 9. Now you have to turn them into 9 by 16.
Hmm.
Almost you have to create the teaser and create that growth distribution channel and keep going back to this process. And over the years, this process, so as you mentioned, there are a lot of companies mushroomed into these areas, each one of them, and they try to solve a particular problem. Like, oh, I'm going to focus just on host scheduling and getting hosts to my studios. Then there is a decent amount of traditionally Adobe did amazing job in like editing YouTube style, really long podcast. But then the world has changed since like last 5 6 years, especially with the rise of video. Because as a consumer, I am consuming more content than ever. So I want my podcasters to show the clips so that way you can start building that awareness wherever my customers are. And traditionally, and I'm not putting words in the horse's mouth, you should confirm like if you have to put the ballpark numbers at pre-production to post-production for every episode, how much time do you spend on an average?
Oh man, it's embarrassingly high, right? And it fluctuates between the two. I will say it fluctuates between the two, pre-production versus post. If I've already got a template in place for the conversation, I've already know. And if I had a similar discussion in the past, then it's not as difficult. But a lot of times, it really does take hours on the planning side up front, and then of course multiple hours on the back side, just creating multiple forms of content, things of that nature. So it
Correct.
fluctuates.
Exactly. So you are spending like a lot of time from start to end, and we haven't talked about the people you need to collaborate, because when you add people and processes and tasks, it adds next layer of complexity, because then you are exchanging the hands, the things which you have recorded properly. It's not necessarily the person who is doing editing knows exactly
Hmm.
what part, what clip is more important, what clip is less important, or like how you want to put it out there. So at Simplified, you're asking like how you guys are thinking. We are thinking about this entire process. We are thinking, I mean, we are currently heavy on post production, and the pre-production. Production is something we haven't dealt with. But when we look at the persona of podcasters, or like anyone who is creating videos, we look at this whole process. Now there are also different, if you put 2 by 2 metrics, there are also different personas in this case. There are very high proficient podcasters or creators. They have probably a small studio, good lighting, and people at their disposal to do their job. Then there are kind of professional podcasters like yourself, who are probably running with some help, have professional equipments and still doing this stuff. And then there is a lot of aspirants who are coming in with a ambition that can I be as good as like James, the way he conducts his podcast. And so we are building the platform for the last two, which is like professional creators like yourself, and the people who are just beginning and they don't have access to these tooling. We are changing the way people create content. We are changing the way people create their podcast. So from ideation to post production, how can we help them? In ideation, can we help them with their AI powered project management? Can we help them identify tasks when they are just thinking about, I want to do a podcast with Katie on this topic?
Hmm.
Can AI help me identify what are the questions, what is trending right now? Can then you use recording, schedulings, and then recording? Can you use as simple software, something like Zoom, to do the recording, and with like low fidelity, I mean high quality, but like less friction, easily available? Can I do that recording on my iPhone or like my Android phone, and then magically all your editing, clipping happens instead of like days, it happens in like probably in a span of like half an hour, 45 minutes. And by that time, before you wrap up your recording and everything, your clips are ready to go live. And they're not just like go live, they are actually on your calendar, and your calendar knows when your audience like consumes your content. So we are thinking about that process as well. How can we make it like end-to-end process streamlined, so you focus on what you are good at, and then use simplified AI companion that does the heavy lifting. We are not here to replace the inhuman experience. We are not here to create like cloned version of James, who is taking doing a podcast host. We are James AI companion. We are his host, which is collaborative, which does heavy lifting and free up like let that 80-90% of the time that you are spending on repetitive tasks. And one day, see, at the philosophical layer, there are people, and people have tasks. So at Simplified AI, currently focusing on how can I make you like perform your task efficiently. And someday we will perform those tasks with the agents, and I'll talk about that a little bit about as well, because from our last conversation, and when you last time use our product, you messaged me and said like you're blown away by the quality and the kind of new AI model. And I briefly mentioned you, like we changed the approach. We went from tools to agent based approach, and I'll talk about
Okay.
that briefly, and how that works. So we are thinking about this entire workflow, from like pre-production to production, how can Simplified brings value for your money that saves you time. So that's kind of, and it's an ambitious goal, to be very frank. It's not an easy feat. Team is working, and we are working with like lot of podcasters, lot of digital marketers, continuously listening to their feedback and iterating. As a startup, the your biggest advantage is your speed of execution, and we are
Yes.
pretty good at that.
So let me ask this: Has you started relatively early talking
Yes.
about generative AI? You started talking before it was sexy and before it was on CNBC and CNN, before right before the common citizen started talking about ChatGPT and started talking about Perplexity and all of those types of agents.
Mhm.
Has anything from anything that you've just talked about just now, and appreciate you for bringing that slide up. Um, Anything in terms of the strategy for the company, has it changed in these few months since again it's now becoming no longer a want, it's more of a need now that we again as technologists, folks that utilize platforms and the internet and things of that, we are expecting AI to do things that it probably shouldn't do, but right, we're expecting the moon, but we want to at least shoot for the stars.
Yes, I think that's a great question. 100% things changed. So when actually some things happen organically and some things are happening organically to us. So when we started using early large language models to do this generative AI stuff, what we learned very early that one model is not cannot do the job. So
Mm,
to solve our own problem, we kind of, when you have this, let's take an example of, like, I think I have somewhere here. So so when you had big task in your hand, let's say transcription analysis and creating clips. So in the past, probably we had some ad hoc methods. We used like large language models like OpenAI or like Vertex AI and few others to create clips. But what we realized that one model is not going to do the whole heavy lifting. We need to go from like tools to agents. So what exactly that means? Instead of like one LLM, what happens is when you ask and when you ask one large like ChatGPT to do a complex task, it does probably 65%, 67% really good job,
mm,
but then it is not taking that job to finish line. So if you remember when we launched, let's say for example in this clipping context, when we launched our first version, it was generating probably 5, 7 clips, and you were like, oh, maybe I want more. I want more analysis, or the clips were cutting at certain places. They were not like probably the best version out there. So we kind of re-engineered the whole thing, and we said we need to transition from like clip tools to agents, and we did it in a different parts of the product. And the way we do it is like human. As a human, I never take the entire job and break it down, like execute in start to finish. Usually when I create a job, I break it down into small tasks, like, okay, first I need to identify, then write script, topic research, then host recruiting. So we applied the same concept to this whole thing and said, okay, when user uploads a video, first we need to understand what is the user's intent, because as you said, you are not looking for something like that is 60%, 50% baked. You're looking for, can it actually be my companion? Can it replace, can it save me time? So we now, in the new approach and new model which we have deployed, we have I mean, this is very high level overview. There are few more nitty gritty details, but in the spirit of time, we have so we now everything runs on our workflow engine, which we have built it in house for all our AI products. So, and it is all powered by AI agents. So when you upload your video, of course there are certain uploading things do happen, and then we have a transcription analyst that goes through the transcription analysis and also does kind of revision and retrospection on the analyst, try to understand the context, what exactly we are discussing here. Also, instead of processing everything, it does it in a chunk, so it produces better results. Now once you and there are different formats. Probably when I say different formats, currently I'm sharing screen, and probably my face might be somewhere in the corner. If you and me are talking, then we are on side by side. Then if somebody is doing Zoom recording, there is a corner. Usually we see at the corner Zoom recording camera angle. So there is a clipping agent that understand what is the context, where exactly is it a two people talking, it is a podcast, it is Zoom recording, and that does that whole thing automatically. And then based on the inputs you have provided, based on the expected output, it takes your brand kit, uh, which you have configured in Simplified, and then it create clips. It create clips based on the context. It assigns based on the AI's understanding the virality score, and also based on the past, like how your past, all the clips and the views and kind of content you have published through Simplified. It knows how exactly your past content performed, and then it gives a virality score. Now once we were
Mhm.
doing this part, we improved that part, but the next piece, which was really game changer for podcasters or like creators, is your typical workflow was, okay, I recorded somewhere, I submitted app to somewhere, then I downloaded these 30-40 clips. Now I have to go to some social media platform to select those clips, they decide like when to post, then I schedule it, and all of these is happening in silos. No systems talk to each other, so that intelligence was missing. So we brought that intelligence in. So I'll show you now how it works, so that
Okay,
way.
but hold on real quick. I just want to show. So you're testing my ECAM skills as well, right? So I'm behind the scenes building scenes and overlays. So after we're live, we'll see just how good Simplified is. I brought in the screen share and brought me down here at the bottom. I know a lot of my ECAM fam is probably watching and they're like, what? Okay, this guy is building scenes on the fly, which is good. But again, if your AI is intelligent enough to see again, because I'm not in a typical spot right now. If you just look at it
Yes.
from a production perspective, I'm not on a typical spot on the screen right now. But if it has the intelligence to know that there's a web frame down at the lower right, there's a screen share at the upper left,
Yep.
main cameras in the center right. So being able to articulate and identify those one-offs is going to
Yes.
be impressive. And I'm gonna let the support note. I'm gonna let the support team. I'm gonna text AJ and tell him that what's going on. But I just wanted to put that piece out there because again, this right now, this look and feel is different than a typical talking head interview would look. But again, we're sharing screens. I'm bringing me in just real quick just to have a dialogue back and forth. But I didn't want to let that know that I am going to test that, and this is really interesting to me as well to know that you consciously think about that, right? Not just
Yes.
take the dialogue that's happened, but take the changes in the production, changes in the
Yeah.
scene, and actually integrate that into how those end clips are going to end up looking. So now, okay,
Yes.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. So just to recap, like since you probably seen it sometime back, oops. So I was actually podcast with James. I was actually using AI to identify what are the different tasks you might be taking. What is your process looks like. So we have project management that we have built. So I've given a topic saying topic with broadcast with James, and AI already told me like this is all steps from pre-production to post-production, and it already kind of helped me understood. You can customize the appearance, you can finalize the statuses next, and invite your team, and you're done. So at a high level, let's start with that project planning, because now on simplified platform you will be able to start planning all these things like pre-production, post-production. And this is, by the way, I haven't done anything here. This is all AI identified all the tasks that you need to to execute this project successfully. So publish episodes on the platform, review and finalize episode, add intro outro music, edit audio clips, take notes, all these things. So once you done that, Now you let's assume that you're running project, you have recorded something. All you need to go to Simplified's video application, and we have three. It's a complete video suite where we allow you to repurpose your clips. If you have already published your audio podcast also, you can use that for clipping. You can also use your video podcast from like YouTube, or if you're just recorded a fresh output and you want to do a clipping, you can do that. So let me see, let it run. Okay, all right. So you can just click on generate with AI, and as I said, you have AI video clips which repurpose your video into clips, audio clips where you can just find any audio podcast. You can do that. AI subtitles, which you are already familiar with, and text to video, where you can turn your blogs into video, your scripts into video. But in this context, let's talk about AI video clips. So you can upload up to 5 GB depending on the plan. You can upload up to 10 GB files. Drag and drop your YouTube links, Google Drive links, Vimeo links, and click on upload. Once you click on upload, we ask you select the template and set the brand kit. So one thing, usually people also spend a lot of time in setting their own brand kits. So with simplified brand kits, once you set up your brand kit, it automatically does a lot of heavy lifting for you as well. Once you submit the job in probably, let's say, 30 minutes or so, you will get an email with once AI complete like finds all the clips. So let it load. So this is recent episode. I was listening to Harrison talking about the AI agents and all these things, and I've submitted this topic. So since our last conversation, there is a transcript, there is a social media calendar, and something automations, which is coming in future. So I'll talk about that. So if you see here, AI knows already three people are talking here. So it smartly adjusted. If you see here, it knows now, like she is speaking, so it automatically identified. So this is an intro piece. Then it identified like a lot of different clips based on like the conversation which Harrison is probably talking to. Let me just probably make it a little bigger. So you have all these clips created through different on the platform. So AI knows that for that 40 minutes of conversation, it has all these clips.
And
So this is,
we're not hearing the system audio, so we're not hearing the audio piece. Just so you know.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, okay. All right.
I bet he
All
was
right.
saying
So
something profound as well, but you know, you.
yes. So if you see here, it is he's talking about how agent collaboration and feedback mechanism happen. So AI knows exactly how this is happening. You can still go to our very rich editor where you can add B rolls. You can, if you are like very particular about how each and every clip is going to render, you have full control. So we are not taking away any control. We are not giving you like full abstraction and saying, now if you want to do that editing, go to some another software, pay that extra money on top of it to do all your editing. Everything is here. So you can, let's say for example, I want to add like email inbox, some b-roll. I can simply select this and say, okay, all right, select the text like a word document and add media on top of it. I can overlay on it. I can add animations the way I want. I can decide like what kind of, let's say for example, I'm adding some media. Let's see, I'm going to search for like email, since he's saying agent is likely to send an email. All right, so probably let's put that here. We have trimming, so you know exactly how much it is adding. Just I'm going to add it, and ta-da, it's all there. So now if you see here, I'm going to go back and play this clip again. So it automatically added the b-roll, and then you can add all the animations. Like if you want to add animations, you want to define like how, whether it should like wipe in, wipe out, so you have that control. So if you're looking to create something really fancy, you can do that. Behind this high level abstraction, there is a powerful editor that is doing the heavy lifting. And the fun part, which was the biggest pain point for a lot of you, was, and you probably mentioned me like a couple of times as well, like, hey, I have these clips, what should I do about them? Like, shall I publish them? I need to download them. So now, since we care about your entire workflow, all you need to do is like select the clips which you like and say add to queue, and decide like, okay, I want to publish this on my TikTok. Choose my TikTok, select like I want to add this as a draft or I want to add this as a queue. I can put labels saying this is my probably faceless channel or like brand awareness channel. I can create my own things, click next, and then AI automatically understands like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. It already populated the task, everything, and I can go and set the time, and I'm done at that point. My
Okay.
30 days of content is ready on my calendar. So let me
So
just click on add queue.
so hold on. Let's rewind and let's pause for a second because you did a lot. You did a lot, right? And I want folks to one understand the how much of an encompassing workflow that you're doing with us, not necessarily just for us, right? Meaning that you're providing the tool. Now, the project management piece was something that again, I've used every single platform on the market. I have. Listen, I've got either more subscriptions or I've worked or talked to and influenced or talked to again C-level people that are doing something to this scale. But the way that you're approaching it's almost again providing a prompt into Simplified. You tell it what you're working on, or it sees what you're working on, and then provides kind of that workflow, that template, that run of show. Right, again, to speak in my folks' language, a run of show of this is the long form content. This is what some short form content could and should look like. Simplified will then help you to create those short form pieces of content. Uh, in all transparency, a lot of folks are using something called a quote unquote virality score. So you're ranking the pieces that come out of the platform, right? Just
Correct.
based on where you feel where your algorithm feels engagement will happen at its highest stance. So that makes sense and that's easy to understand. But then again, that's 70% of what we do. But then this right here, this was a piece right here that got me early on in the day, having a unified social inbox.
Yes. Yes.
It's all good to be able to post. And again, I'm talking for you. I didn't mean to interrupt, but again, this is just where I get excited when I see technology that works, and I want folks to understand this. It's all good to be able to
Yes.
just post to your main channel, to your YouTube channel, to your Twitter channel, and I'll always call it Twitter. I'll never call it X. Um, to your Facebook channel. It's all good to be able to do those things really well, and there are individual platforms that do those individual things very well. But being able to auto post, auto schedule to everywhere, to be able
Yeah.
to understand the importance of attaching your content to conversations, that being hashtags on Twitter, being able to do that
Yes.
piece. And for me, I'm really anal about if I'm posting on Twitter at 12 o'clock, I want it to go out on Instagram at 12:05. I want it to
Yep.
go to TikTok at 12:15. Right. I don't want it to all go out at the same time. I don't want to barrage folks. I want to be able to systematically schedule my content out to those various platforms. That's one thing that
So
again that you're
actually,
winning in terms of what I see you're doing thus far. And again, I want to give you some of these flowers.
yes. Thank you. So interestingly, most of the 7 out of 10 people, 10 podcasters are doing exactly what you just said. Like they say, oh, it's I want it to queue my content and at a certain interval. But we took slightly different approach there as well. So once you put this in queue, Simplified's social media uh, client or the app, based on your historical analytics, already knows when your Instagram audience is active, and it will propose you the best time to
No, you
post
don't.
on Instagram.
Stop it. Stop it. No, you don't. Hold on. Is that right? I use it every
Yes.
single day. Are you kidding me? All right. Let's.
So did you not see like this best time to post?
I, am I supposed?
So
I don't read instructions. It's like reading the end user license agreement. We don't read the
yeah.
instructions.
So if you see, if you click on best time to post, based on like everything which is there, it knows like, let's say for example, so we are already connected with my LinkedIn. AI knows probably when is the best time to post. So AI suggests me probably, yeah, I need to post it on Wednesdays, maybe like these three times, maybe Fridays. If you see at 2:35 p.m., it basically says, and then Saturday, Sunday, there is not much is happening. So do you see like how AI, based on the data, it already knows. So now all I'm doing is I first took your episode, and then I said, okay, AI, tell me based on my historical data, when is the best time? And I said, just added everything in my queue. It's all autopilot. So that's how we see the future. You have the it's not like replacing you, but it is a companion that knows where you need the help. You don't need to do thinking in this case. You can rely on the system, and you have full control. It is not
Right.
directly posting anything. You can always see, oh, I don't want it here. Let me put it maybe like somewhere like on 30. So you can do that control. But 90 to 95% work, you will see this is what we called as irreversible experience. We are not building like that one tool that you use it and then you use like 20 tools to complete your workflow. We are thinking like, okay,
Yeah.
if I free up James' time and let him give that time back to do what he does best, which is like recording, podcasting, interviewing people. How can I free up time, save you cost, and lot more like, so that way automate your processes. So in that's what we are bringing in Simplified. It's a complete work creative OS, or like end-to-end system, where you can do end-to-end like these things, not like the so that's where I said initially we are building EVs of future. We are not you can keep using your regular cars, but if you're looking for the future, how the AI collaboration will work hand in hand, that's where Simplified comes in picture. And every single thing, that's how we think it now. Whenever someone now when you post these things, you have analytics, you have comments, you know how your audience is responding to your content. So that's where we think when it comes to workflow, that's how we think about end-to-end workflow.
Yeah, I will say this, and what's really cool while you were talking, I logged into my environment here. Here's my, and I see now best time to post it. You snuck this in here. This wasn't there like 2 days ago, brother. So you're not gonna throw one over me here. But yeah, so that's dope. From idea to done simpler. Check out this new AI, the project management tool. But yeah, the best time to post is listed there. Um, the fact again that the social media management is again that unified inbox. So I love getting the emails. Oh, you stopped sharing your screen,
Yes.
but I love getting the emails from when engagement happens on a post, because again
Yes.
that is so critical, and that is again allowing us to be proactive and engage with our community. So
And
having
see,
go ahead.
sorry to cut you. It's not. It's the way AI is. I mean, our system is telling you saying here is the email, but behind the scene, system is getting smarter. It knows that if he posts part like that TikTok clip on click TikTok maybe on Tuesdays 8 a.m., you get better engagement. So next time when you will queue and set up your calendar, it knows that if I put it like 8 a.m. on TikTok, that post, because think about audience. As an audience, if I am engaging with your content on 8 a.m. to your Wednesdays, that means there is a good chance that going to see that thing again at the same time at the same frequency, and you are feeding me that kind of content again and again. So it's kind of that's how we are trying to make that whole system smarter. And as we are putting cycles on each part of it, we are peeling the layers, and behind the scene we are. So in near term, at least the recently I said that in near term it is still, it will be more, we will use AI, because see, change is always scary, because when you say automation, people get scared, because it's job displacement. It is, of course, it's a human behavior, but the way we see is like, you will come in and you will probably record a video or record a podcast over the period of time, over long run, and that's it. The system will do the rest of things till a point where clips are ready to go, your lighting and everything is the ready, and it sends a notification to you saying, hey, there are 30 clips scheduled on from Monday to, let's say, next Tuesday, or like next 30 days, your content is ready, go check, verify. Once you try, like once you verify it, like let's say 10 times, 20 times, you will build that confidence that system is working as per your need, and then you will put it on like this automation. That's how we see the future. But I think, and it's not that distinct, but our first goal is to be the best workplace companion for creators, digital. I mean, we coined this term digital creators, because everyone is a digital creator, isn't it? Like, if I'm
That's true.
posting, AJ is posting
That's true.
on LinkedIn, he's a digital creator. So you are recording, you're posting, you're marketing, we are doing this podcast. Everyone is a digital creator at this point. And we are building tool for every digital creator which is out there, and making their life simpler.
Again, hence the name. Let me ask you this, and again, I hate to call you on the carpet on this, and I know the answer, but again, this is a good question to ask someone at the CEO level. Are you engaging with your users in terms of what should go on a roadmap, right? It would be a disservice to yourself and a disservice to us to use the platform if it was just you, AJ, and the team sitting in a conference room and saying, "Let's do this." Engineers building for engineers never works.
Yep,
So
totally.
how can folks that see what you've got and like, man, this is really cool, and if it could do this, and if I could make a recommendation on that, how are you openly listening to some of that feedback? And again, a softball question, but again, I think it goes without saying that it at least needs to be asked.
Yeah, I think you know this, but we
Softball
build in
question, brother.
public.
Listen, it's
Yeah,
not going to be hard. You amongst family,
we,
man. I'm not going to give you two.
we build in public,
Hmm.
so we are listening to every signal. We are dog fooding our own product. We are listening
Hmm.
all the conversations. We are monitoring what exactly users are listening, because last thing we want to do is like build a company that is AI company in vacuum. What we are building a company with public, with creators. We are talking with them. We are going to conferences, as well as we have a very rich Facebook community where people
Hmm.
usually, and we have built the relationships with these creators who feel like it's their platform, and they are been with us for now. This is our third year in operation. You're like yourself, there are many friends and people who've been kind of really vocal about, if things don't work, we don't take it as offense. We say it's okay. That's the good great thing you have. Like, just go. G2 is another destination.
Hmm.
There are 4,000 plus reviews people have given to us. Then email. Our email is always open, and you know where to find us. Like intercom, which we use as a communication channel. It's available for everyone, uh, even if you're a free person or you're a pro plan customer. We offer customers 24 by 7 support. So oftentimes you'll find and there is a roadmap. People usually vote on our roadmap, and then we discuss, and then they come back and execute on those roadmaps. So it's a crawl walk run approach.
Hmm.
uh, so that's we are incrementally making progress, understanding, okay, this is the pain point, yeah, in their workflow. Because if we can help you make your workflow better, you will be happy, and you will automatically be the simplified champion.
I will say there are, and this is for folks that are listening, watching, either now or in the future. I will hit them up on support, simplified on support through intercom. 5 times out of 10, I'll get KD. So for the CEO and the founder to be that hands on, there's pros and cons of that. But again, for you to be that hands on in terms of getting user experience and to be answering intercom messages directly off of the support bot on your website says something about, again, the statement you said, you're eating your own dog food. So that's really cool as well. I mean, because again, you're not just talking about it, you're being about it. Um, these large language models, and we'll bring this plane in, but I wanted to ask you about this because there's so many choices that we have out there from a technologist perspective and integration into platforms. Is there a large language model? Are you an OpenAI guy? Are you a Gemini guy? You know what I mean? Where are you at in terms of utilizing that, or quite frankly, are you building your own?
Uh, I mean, we looked at building our own, but I think that's when you have big heavyweights are fighting. It's better to take the. We are more of an application layer that takes advantage of what comes best off the shelf. We work very closely with OpenAI from like GPT 2 days. So we have seen that evolution from GPT 2 to GPT 3.5, GPT 4, then 4.0. We also work with Claude, and now we are also have really amazing partnership with Google on Vertex AI. So it's behind the scene we are channel, I mean, model agnostic, but we have seen some really good results with certain models, and depending on so we are consistently benchmarking which model is performing better. A recent Claude model seems to be performing better, but let's see with GPT-5, you never know what's coming, what kind of like how they leapfrog other models. Our job is to take the what is best out there and
Mhm.
provide value for our customers. We are not in business of like creating like another model for ourselves. We may fine tune model, but we are not building any model.
You're staying in your lane and you're doing what you do real well. KD,
Absolutely.
you're a good dude, man. Appreciate you for taking some time. Listen, I want to be cognizant of your time. Let you get to the things that you've got to get to. Ton of folks watching on Twitter and YouTube. We appreciate you. This will be available for forever out there on all the
Yeah.
platforms. So I will make sure to put links to not just simplify.com, but to also the roadmap, which you have published publicly, and also to this G2 article, right? So again, because again, that's third person removed, right? It's not an internally designed or created document. It's actually us users that are providing our pros and cons, our feedback. We're telling you when the baby's ugly. We're giving you the insights that we see from using it. So I think that's valuable for folks to take a look at as well. Simplified Folks is available for free. There are some capabilities that you have just to go in and take advantage of it and take a look at it. But if you want all of the bells and whistles, if you want all of the AI connotations, the project management, AI clips, if you want to do all the things, you get what you pay for. So you go and you upgrade to Pro. Let me just tell you that if you want a hot tip for the day, go take a look at it. Upgrade to Pro. Look at what you're using now. Here's my soapbox moment. While Katie is on the line, he didn't pay me for this. Take a look at all the other tools that you're using in your workflow, and just think about the steps that Katie walked through just now about project management. Again, using some keywords here, not just about pushing out content, not just about pushing out social viral clips or anything of that nature, but from a project management perspective, from a utilization of your time, from a workflow perspective, and how to leverage the time that we have. That's our most important asset and attribute anyway throughout the day. How do I leverage and use my time most effectively? You make your own decision. Go take a look at it and see if it just makes sense within your workflow. So with that, listen, I need a T-shirt or something from the company. I'll be in the city next week. I'm coming by the simplified offices. I'll be on. Okay, I'll stop.
Absolutely. I mean, always appreciate the feedback, and thanks for inviting me here. This was really great, and yeah, looking forward to share. Go back to offices and making your workflows better. So if you're looking to save time, do more with less. I mean, the product which you need to use. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
There
Thank
you
you.
go, Katie. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a great day, and we will talk to you next time.